It is the day of reckoning. The day of reckoning for the Republican establishment and their candidates. Donald Trump, on this Super Tuesday, is poised to win virtually every primary that is on the table, and that is going to spell disaster for the Republican establishment and for their candidates. I'm Randall Terry. You're watching Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Welcome to the program, friend. It's Super Tuesday, and oh my goodness, the Trump people have got to be elated. Marco Rubio's people have to be imploding. Ted Cruz's people have to be nervous, and yet still hopeful. We're going to see what happens over the next few days. This I can tell you. The Koch brothers, the very wealthy, pseudo-conservative donors, political class donors, are threatening to recruit Mitt Romney to run in some of the late primary states to try and keep Donald Trump from going into the convention with enough delegates so that they can thwart his effort to reach the presidency or to run against Hillary, and they can have a brokered convention. I don't know. And this other stuff about the New York Times and whether he said that things were negotiable, I guarantee you Trump said that some things were negotiable. But he also made clear that the wall on the southern border is not negotiable.
100%. Is that amazing? I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. They will pay. Now, you saw Vicente Fox, right? He was the past president of Mexico. Now, can you imagine if Trump used that word? They don't even say anything about it. Joe Biden got up today and he apologized. This guy, the anger of Fox, the anger. Did you see the anger? Now, Joe Biden apologized on behalf of the nation. I would like to apologize. Now, he uses the F-bomb and Biden says nothing. Nobody says anything. It's really disgusting. And you know why he was angry? He was angry not at the wall, just at the fact that we would even be talking to them because they get their way at everything. So does every other country. And he's saying essentially, how dare you tell Mexico what to do? We always tell you what to do. It's not going to happen that way anymore, folks. Not going to happen that way. The anger. And the reporters, one of them standing right back there, they called up and they said, Mr. Fox said he's not going to build the wall. And there's no way he's going to build the wall. And he used a horrible word when he said he's not going to build the wall. So they said to me, do you have a comment about that? And I said, yes. What is it? The wall just got 10 feet taller. True.
This crowd has seen the lines on TV so many times, they're prepared to say them with Trump.
Again, we're going to go 20 feet taller, believe me.
Even though they know what he's going to say, they've come out to hear him say it in person.
And I came down that escalator with Melania, and we just looked and we said, it's going to be great. But I came down and I mentioned illegal immigration. And it was craziness. You remember, right? It was crazy. The world went crazy. Everything went crazy. I said, we either have a country or we don't. We either have borders or we don't. And then it turned out that I was right. And everybody started pivoting back. And even a couple of these people that I'm running against, the other day, I heard Ted Cruz say, we are going to have a wall. This is the first time I've ever heard this. And Rubio, little Rubio, he says, we are going to have a wall. They don't have a clue, folks. And you know what? As soon as the lobbyists from Mexico get a hold of them, there's not going to be a wall. Just words. All talk, no action politicians. Believe me. All talk, no action. And in the case of Rubio, very, very weak on illegal immigration. In the case of Cruz, in all fairness, pretty weak. Not as weak, but pretty weak. And he was in favor of amnesty, and there's nothing you can do about it. We're not going to do amnesty. We're going to have our country back. We're going to take our country back. And people are going to come into our country, but they're going to come into our country legally.
His call for legal immigration,
strong border,
not illegal immigration,
stop drugs from coming in because the
met
drugs are
with
pouring
cheers
through that border.
and cheers
it's like water.
and more cheers.
They're pouring through the border. And you know, I won New Hampshire. And by the way, we just had some big victories. Nevada, right? South Carolina, right? And they were big. We won every single category in every one of the 3 states. And I'll tell you what, we won with men, we won with women.
And this, of course, should be the Republican Party's dream come true. That he wins across the board. Women, men, old, young, evangelicals, poorly educated, highly educated, with the vets, with the military. He's winning across the board, winning with independents. And yet, they hate him because he's not beholden to them.
We won by landslides. You know,
what do you think about the fact that Trump is not taking any big money?
The best. That's the best part about it, because he's not beholden to the special interests. And that's the best thing that could happen right there.
His argument, I guess, is that he's beholden to the voters.
That's exactly right. The voters. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need fame. He's famous and he's rich. So why is he doing this? Hopefully to make our country better, great again.
Thanks to friends like you, we have state-of-the-art cameras and state-of-the-art teleprompters and state-of-the-art gear here in the studio. We have one big need, however. We have not yet been able to upgrade our computers. The computers that we use for a television broadcast or to create a documentary are not like the kind that you can just go buy at Best Buy. They are expensive because it takes so much horsepower to create TV series and or documentaries. So I'm asking you, if you want to see this show grow and you want to see us finish the What Would Mohamed Do series, help us get these computers. 3 computers that we need right now are going to be just shy of $20,000. That's the kind of horsepower that we need. Go to the GoFundMe page you see right there. Watch the pilot for What Would Mohamed Do? And if you like the show, give us a gift.
So when it began, it was about the borders, it was about trade and all of that. And then we had the attack, and it was a horrible attack all over the world. In Paris, where 130 people were killed. Many, many people dying right now in the hospital, horribly hurt. And by the way, speaking of that, I will protect your Second Amendment 100%, okay? 100%.
This crowd loves the Second Amendment. You have to know that. This is Tennessee.
And then we had the attack in California. The 2 radicalized people, they get married, they go in and they shoot their co-workers and supposedly their friends. Something going wrong here, folks. There's some anger out there. We got to solve the problem. But I guarantee you one thing. These Syrians are not coming into our country until we find out what the hell is going on. Not coming in.
Making the pledge that the Syrian refugees are not coming in until we can find out what's going on, until they can be properly vetted.
They got to go. They got to go.
The ones that are here, he's going to have them deported.
You know, you have that migration, and we all have a heart, and we're going to build safe zones in Syria. We're not paying for it, by the way. Don't worry about it. We'll get the Gulf states. The Gulf states are making and have made so much money. They have so much money. They're not taking any of the migration.
Vowing to create safe zones in Syria for the refugees, and that those safe zones will be paid for by the Gulf states who make so much money in oil.
But we will get the money from the Gulf states. Do you know that Saudi Arabia, before the oil came down, now they're making half, was making $1 billion, think of this, $1 billion a day and we protect them, we get practically nothing. Why? South Korea makes a fortune. I order thousands a year, thousands of television sets. They're all made in Samsung, LG, they're all made in South Korea. I order thousands of sets. South Korea, we have 28,000 soldiers on the line. You have the maniac in North Korea. You have the maniac.
Finally, the protesters.
All right, get him out of here. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out.
You can see a handful of protesters. They're taking their signs down. Everyone knew that this was going to happen.
Right?
It's only a matter of when. This is a little bit of theater. It's a little bit of theater.
The press will say, oh, there was a protest. Unbelievable. You know, we've got 15,000 people here today.
The crowd is, of course, going wild. Mr. Trump is pausing in his speech while the law enforcement officials take the protesters out.
So we have 15,000 people. We have one wise guy, and that'll be the headline, protest. But I love the protesters because the only way the dishonest media, the most dishonest people in the world, I think maybe more dishonest than the politicians, hard to believe. The only way they turn their cameras...
Trump now saying the only way that the media will show the size of the crowd is if there's a protester. So he's glad that the protesters are here. Go ahead and show the size of this crowd. There are people still arriving. My wife told me that the line for getting people in is still going on, literally 30 minutes into Mr. Trump's speech. And unfortunately, they had a real chokehold with the cars coming in, or this hangar would have been overflow crowd by now.
And then all of a sudden, everybody liked me from the standpoint of the military, because I get it, I understand it. And believe me, we're going to be strong because our military is being decimated. It's being decimated. Now, we are going to be so strong at the military level. We're going to build it bigger, better, stronger than ever, and nobody is going to mess with us. Nobody. Nobody.
I'm a Democrat, but I really like Trump, so I'm going to vote for him.
That's bad news for Hillary.
Yeah, I was going to vote for her until Trump got into it, and I agree with everything he says. I don't think he's out to divide the country. I think he's giving the country hope for a better future.
Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these two books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note, and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today.
We're getting rid of Obamacare, by the way, getting rid of it. We're getting rid of it. It's gone. It's gone. It's a disaster. It's a disgrace. It's a disaster. That's going. It'll be replaced with lots of options that are going to be excellent and a lot less expensive and better. It's called better and less expensive. So we're getting rid of Obamacare. But what happened is people came up and they all of a sudden started saying Trump is the right one for basically its security. And every poll showed it. Where I did the worst in the polls, I hate to say, do you know where I did the worst? my personality. Who cares, right? Who cares? And I'll tell you what, I'm a nicer person, so I really think I am.
Saying that the only place in the polls that he doesn't do well is with personality.
The people that I'm on the dais with. I really believe that. I want to take care of people. You know, we're all in this together. I'm a messenger, that's all I am. We're all in this together.
Telling the crowd we're all in this together, and that is part of his magic, that people feel like he's saying what they believe.
People say, oh, Trump has captured the anger of the world, and the anger, it's actually a world anger. It's not even, it's this country, because this country has made so many bad decisions, it overflows outside of this country. But there is a real anger, and they always write about the anger. I don't think about it. I don't think like I captured anything. I just say what I say, and I say what I say because it's common sense. It's common sense. And
he says what he says, and people love it.
They asked me because a certain politician made a speech, and she talked about Nikki Haley. She talked about Trump. Essentially, she was saying Trump is angry. And I'm not an angry person, believe me. I'm not. And you're not angry people. But during the debate, the one before last, they said, Nikki Haley said, you're essentially an angry person. And I was supposed to say, oh, no, I'm not. I love the way things are going. The country's going to hell. The Iran deal is just wonderful. We give them $150 billion for nothing, right? We're all thrilled. Sergeant Bergdorf, wonderful deal. We get a dirty, rotten traitor. They get 5 killers that they wanted forever, right? 5 people died going after Sergeant Bergdorf. And then we're supposed to say we're thrilled with the way our country's run, right? Our country is in trouble. Our jobs are a disaster. Our real number is 25%, not 5%. When you look for a job and can't get it, you quit, you look, you go home, you stay home with your wife or your husband. You no longer look. And you know what? Statistically, they think you're employed. We have a real problem. Our jobs have been taken from us. They've been taken by China and so many other countries. They've been taken by everybody. Last week, you read about it, Carrier. They make air conditioners. I buy air conditioners from Carrier, no longer. They're moving to Mexico, like so many other people. So here's the story, folks.
The reaction of the crowd about Carrier air conditioners moving
smart.
To Mexico.
We have to be smart. I like free trade, but it has to be fair trade. It has to be smart trade. But the only thing you can do is one thing. I saw the pictures, probably a cell phone camera, where this executive is saying, sorry, folks, your jobs are gone. A lot of jobs. What was it, 1,400 jobs, I think. 1,400 jobs. And by the way, United Technologies also is closing up some stuff, moving to Mexico. So here's what we do. I'm a free trader. You know, I get a lot of heat. He is not conservative. He is not... Folks, I call myself common sense conservative, you know? Common sense conservative.
Are you pro-life?
Oh, absolutely.
You think that Donald Trump is going to fight for the unborn?
I think so. I hope so.
Well, they brought that black preacher in from the Carolinas, and man, he was like a house on fire.
I know we couldn't understand him back here, though.
What he was saying was that it's murder to kill an unborn baby, and Donald Trump will fight to protect the babies.
I think that's wonderful. It's wonderful. They'll save a dog, but they won't. They will save a dog.
Say that again.
They will save a dog, but they won't save the unborn.
Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're going to... No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show.
So, look, we are involved together with something that's very special. Again, they say it never happened before. I mean, I watched just a little while ago. They say what's happening now has never, ever happened before in the history of our nation. I can't even believe that. I don't even understand why that is necessarily. But they're talking about we've changed the whole playing field of politics. And it'll never be the same. And I love that. And I love that. So here's the story. Tuesday, go out and vote. Big, strong vote. I promise you that you're going to look back on this night and you're going to say, this was a very important night. Everybody in this huge hangar, this was a very important evening in your life because things started to happen. We're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We are going to win in the military. We're going to win with healthcare. We're going to win at the borders. We're going to win with education. We're going to win with everything. We're going to win with everything. And we are going to make America great again. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We love you, folks. Go out and vote on Tuesday.
Now Mr. Trump is working the crowd. He's talking with people up front. Unfortunately, they were not scheduling interviews with any media. You can see from the size of the media contingent here, there's a lot of us that would have loved to have a one-on-one interview with him, but they said it couldn't happen, that they were gonna come in, make the speech, shake a few hands up front, get on the plane and leave. I can tell you I've been to a lot of political events in my lifetime, a lot. And this is, without question, the most electrified crowd that I've ever seen, with the exception of the time that I saw Ronald Reagan. That probably paralleled it. But he's got this crowd, and he has momentum, and he has tapped into that angst, into that anger, to that sense that we've been betrayed by the Republican establishment. And they're looking for a man who portrays strength, confidence, who can sit down with Putin, who can threaten Carrier, the air conditioning manufacturer, say, look, if you do go to Mexico, we're going to tax you so heavily that it won't be worth it to you. Yes, it's a strong arm tactic. Yes, some people would call it protectionism. But what is he protecting? American jobs. American jobs. And that's why it plays so well in this crowd. And by the way, Carrier is made right here, 30 minutes from here. The Carrier plant that is closing is a few hundred miles from here, but it's going to have a grave impact on the families that are thrown out of work because they're going to Mexico where they can build the product for less money. I've been out of sync with my Republican friends on this for many years, on so-called protectionism versus so-called free trade. When you're competing with people that are making $2 or $4 a day, then you simply can't compete. And that's why our infrastructure, our manufacturing infrastructure has been decimated in this country, because people who are very wealthy have been able to cut deals where they have a bigger profit margin, and it's the people at the top that are getting rich and the people at the bottom who are getting laid off and becoming door greeters at Walmart, while Walmart is selling the products made in China and in Mexico and in India. He's on the plane.
Hope you enjoyed the program. Super Tuesday. When you're done watching this, watch the election results, and I'll be with you tomorrow night to look at it with you. you.